Welcome back to MVM. I'm Ryan, and I'm here today with a Kickstarter preview of The Villagers from Black Forest Studio. The Villagers is a 6 to 23 player social deduction game played in two teams, the Plague Doctors versus the Villagers. If you've played games in the past like Werewolf or Mafia, then you have a basic idea of how to play the Villagers already. At the end of this video, I'm going to run down a few of the differences and a few of the things that make the Villagers unique. In the Villagers, players are going to be divided into two teams. You have the Plague Doctors team versus the Villagers team. And within those two teams, there are a variety of different roles. I'm not going to go over what every single individual role does because there are something like 21 different roles with only a few actual duplicates. This game can support up to 23 players, including one player that serves as the moderator who kind of guides the rest of the players through the Villagers experience. The first thing you're going to do is put together a deck of cards based on the number of players at the table. You're always going to include the moderator card. This will get dealt out to someone and they will act as the overseer for this particular game. You're always going to have your basic Plague Doctors and your basic Villagers, and then you're going to flavor that in with some special roles. Once the deck has been made, one card is going to be dealt out to each player, and that player is going to secretly look at their card to figure out both what role they are playing and which team they are on. Cards on the Plague Doctors team are marked with a skull in the corner so that there's no confusion about which team you're going to be playing on. If you're the moderator, you reveal the card, you stand up, and you begin the game. A game of the Villagers is played over two phases. There is the night phase, followed by the day phase. Again, if you've played Werewolf or other games like that, this does follow that same formula. During the night, the Plague Doctors wake up, they kind of look at each other, making eye contact, and deciding who at the table they're going to infect. They have to do this by agreeing on one person non-verbally saying, I'm going to infect this person. Once the moderator gives the thumbs up, we move on to the next role. And you'll do that going through role after role until everyone has acted during the night. All of these actions are done in secret. Everyone has their eyes closed. Only the people taking the actions are able to open their eyes. After the night phase, you move directly onto the day phase. The moderator is going to begin the day phase by revealing if an infected player has died. An infected player will die if the Plague Doctors infected that character at night and nobody did anything to interfere with the infection. There are a few things that can be done, and we'll talk about those in a minute, but there are ways to prevent an infected character from dying. Once that's done, the players at the table will all have the opportunity to nominate other players at the table that they think might be on the Plague Doctors team. Meanwhile, the Plague Doctors are trying to cover for each other without making it too obvious. If you've never seen a game like this played, this is where all the lying, bluffing, and deceit really comes out. Plague Doctors need to have each other's back without being too obvious about it. Villagers are looking for maybe any kind of tell that a certain character might be at the table, because keep in mind, no one knows who anybody else is at the table at this point. So the day phase is going to continue on until a player at the table has been nominated. If that player is determined to be guilty by vote, that character is then executed. They're removed from the game without ever revealing what they were. If the Villagers manage to execute all of the Plague Doctors, then the Villagers win. If the Plague Doctors manage to make it to the end of the game, where a majority of the players still left alive at the table are Plague Doctors, then the Plague Doctors win the game. And the game is going to continue on through these night and day phases until there's only one team left standing. Now that I've talked about how Villagers is played, I'm going to run down some of the things that make it unique to other games like Werewolf. A lot of that comes down to the roles. There are some unique roles here that you're not going to see in other games. The first of those is the Apothecary and the Healers. The Apothecary makes healing salves that the healers can then distribute to the players at the table to prevent them from being infected. However, if the Apothecary is killed, that Apothecary is gone, and the healers can no longer distribute their healing potions because no one is making them. The Sinister Villager is on the Plague Doctors team, but they don't have any abilities. They don't really do anything, but they know who the other Plague Doctors are, and they're trying to protect them. And the Beggar is similar. The Beggar is a villager until they get affected by the Plague Doctors. If they do, instead of becoming infected and dying, they actually switch sides and they now become a member of the Plague Doctors team. Thank you for watching my Kickstarter preview of The Villagers from Black Forest Studios. The game should be live on Kickstarter right now, so go ahead and take a look over at their Kickstarter page. As always, please leave any comments or questions down below and I'll do my best to answer them. You can subscribe to us here on YouTube so you don't miss any of our future content. You can follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.